channel is to celebrate hip hop in all of its forms, to celebrate rap music. And listen, if you're a young person and you're like under the age of 30 and you're watching this video because you're excited to see an old guy talk about fake mink, I'm going to be there. But I also just did a video on Raekwon the chef, who's like pushing 60 years old. He's been doing it for a long time. You should check out that review too. You need to check out that old music. And if you're one of those people, you're one of the people who's my age, in their 40s or 50s, you need to understand I'm talking about fake mink because fake mink matters. Fake mink is like, despite the fact he's 20 years old, he's one of those guys who's got an ugly haircut, wears terrible clothes, and therefore has aura just by standing around and not saying something. He makes SoundCloud beats. He's got a freaking Drake cosign. Yet despite all of those things, he's a really good artist making really good music, and I think we really need to pay attention. The same way that maybe 10 years ago you were like, I don't know, and then you checked out Young Lean and you realized it was pretty good, or 5 years ago you heard Yeet, or 2 years ago you heard, I don't know. Fake Mink's an awful lot better than that spend. But that kind of thing, like this is that underground type of music, which I don't like calling it underground because that implies a sense of place. I call it the interground, like the underground of the internet, where just nerdy people get together and talk about stuff that everyone doesn't know about. But he is really better than the rest that I've heard. But who am I? I'm just some guy. I mostly focus on rap music, but come on now. I'm 47 years old. I have children as old as Fake Mink. So I'm going to do another part of my series, Teach the Prof, where I get someone from outside the channel to come in and teach me. Now, this is a real mystery teacher. Their name is SADPRT. I don't know if that's SADPRT, SADPRT, maybe really into shampoo. I don't know. I don't know if it's a guy. I don't know if it's a lady. I don't know if it's an NB. I don't know if they're American. I don't know how old they are. All that I know is that they are on Instagram. They have over 100,000 followers on all these different platforms, and they are like a leading voice in this interground, this internet underground rap music stuff. Anytime you see a whole bunch of people talking about a bunch of weirdos with bad haircuts, terrible clothes, who have aura, he's usually, or she, or they are usually there talking about. So let's talk to this leader of confusing young rap music. All right, let's talk to this person. Let's find out who they are, where they're from, what their journey is a little bit, and then talk about Fake Mink, who is, as far as I can tell, like by far the most interesting figure in this field, who needs to be studied and appreciated and looked out for. Even if Drake already has his little vampiric fangs in him and is trying to suck the life out of him as we speak. So let's get ready to talk to Sadpert. Sadpert. All right, so there's your answer, everybody. That's what sad port is. It sad part? Oh, sad
Sad
port?
part.
Sad part.
I'm
Okay.
merely a representative of sad part. I'm not
Okay.
exactly the name is the entity, I'm just the individual.
Okay. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
like what is sad part for my mostly, not older. Most of my viewers are probably around your age, but they might not
Yeah.
know what sad part is.
Sad part is like a music hub. We like to talk about opinions, album reviews, share our thoughts, share artists super early. Fake Mink was one of the first artists, or we were one of the first pages to post Fake Mink. I found him pretty early and like, I don't know, we like to share cool music, cool thoughts. Like, it's just a great place to be, in my opinion. So if you're into music, check us out.
So
Excuse me.
I'm interested because the term that I hear you use, do you want to be called sad part? Do you want to be called by a name
Yeah,
or how,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Whatever.
So like the term underground is what I hear used a lot. And so as an old guy who like used to be, back in my day, there was a place to an underground and now it's the internet. So I was thinking
Mhm.
of interground. That's a really terrible sounding sound. What do you think of that terrible idea?
Interground is it's interesting. There's a lot of conversation around the word underground because I think underground has kind of shifted its meaning even just recently. Like there are artists with, hundreds of thousands of listeners who are deemed underground just because of like their style or like them being self-produced or something. So I don't think it even has the same meaning as before. I think that the name should be should be reconsidered. Interground is a possibility we could throw in the hat.
Yeah, just because it's so much of it is about like being on the internet and being into certain places, and it's interesting because I've watched a lot of your coverage on Fake Mink over the last couple of weeks. I've watched like other interviews and other people talking, and it seems that the main thing that people have been talking about is basically how I started this video before you showed up, which is basically like, man, this guy is it. And like, it's pretty clear that he's it and he's going to be it. And
Yeah.
just, it's pretty amazing to watch. I told the story earlier. That's how we got connected. I was at a graduation party for, a friend of mine's kids, or actually friends of my kids' friends. And this guy shows up. He's a friend of my son. And all the way back in like 2018, he was like, "You got to cover Tootsie Slide, Skye." Like he was like way back then, always giving me this
Yeah.
kind of advice. And he's like, "You just got to know, Fake Mink. He's the one. He's the guy. Like everybody knows it and everybody feels it, and he's just the total guy." And I totally respect this kid. And
Yeah.
it was really funny because I was like, "All right," and I mentioned that story, and then you commented like, "He's right. You have to talk about talk about Fake Mink." And so I was
Mhm.
like, "All right, cool. I'm going to get ready to do it." And I think I listened to a little bit of one song, and then Drake gave him the cosign. I was like, "Shit, man." Now it's going to look like I'm just following Drake.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Um,
was crazy. That was one of the craziest things to happen in this scene in a long time. Like, because Drake was the last artist Drake co-signed was Yeat, and Yeat was another artist who kind of like broke through the underground sphere and became like a mainstream artist, and he's been going crazy. So like, I guess Fake Mink might follow that same trajectory, although I think he has a bit more longevity and like musical taste than Yeat, even in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, and I think it's so to a certain extent, it's almost like the cosign helps him, but then it also really hurts him at the same time because of
Yeah,
where of how Drake is perceived of by many people like of taste and culture in rap music. So it's a crazy like devil's bargain, but it's also a good sign because I mean, in my opinion, I have a lot of problems with Drake, obviously, but his allegiance to international hip hop, I think, is important and generally good. I think it's more good than bad as far as him
yeah.
using his influence or misusing his influence. So yeah, so I didn't know if you were British or not. You're not British. Where are you out of?
No. I'm in Florida.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah, Palm
we're
Beach
in the
County.
same time zone. Orange
hmm
County. Okay, yeah, I've been to yeah, Orange County. That's where
No,
Orlando
Palm
is,
Beach
right?
County.
Oh,
Sorry.
Palm Beach. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So when it comes to Fake Mink, like who is he? Like, what do we even know about him?
hmm Okay, so I guess we should start like back at the beginning. And this was before I was even a fan of him. These are just recounts from like my friends or whatever. But he used to go by 9090 Gate. And this
Okay.
was up until like late 2023 or early 2024, I believe. That's the name he went by. And he was making like he had some good connections and he was making a lot of music people were enjoying, but like the numbers obviously weren't how they were today. But during that time, he was getting connected with people like Ian Connor, Moa Lola, like big people in the fashion scene. So he was like building a good base for himself. And Ian Connor, actually, he's a bit of a controversial guy in the fashion scene. I don't know if you've heard of him.
So I've heard of him in watching your videos about Fake Mink, and
Yeah,
I started to go, "Oh yeah, Ian Connor. Wait, is that the guy that Tyler the Creator hates? They're both named Ian. I don't think it's the same guy. I'll
no.
have to ask SADPRT who Ian Connor is."
Okay, no. So Ian Connor's like a controversial fashion guy. There's a lot of people saying he's a bad guy.
Okay.
But he was on to Mink super early, and Fake Mink actually cut him off because he believed he was like stealing his swag or like his ideas and stuff, which I thought was pretty interesting because Fake Mink was a tiny artist at that time, so to like cut off someone who's so big in the scene
Yeah.
seemed pretty interesting and cool to me because like you'd think that as a small artist you'd want to cling on to that and like be
Yeah.
around someone as much as possible.
Yeah,
But
and that shows like a strength of character. But
yeah.
but also like I read that he's from London, but of Indian and Algerian heritage. Is
Yeah.
that confirmed?
Yeah, yeah. He's Indian, Algerian, and a lot of people don't know, but he's actually Italian as well. His
Okay.
name's Vincenzo, which is obviously a
Yeah.
very Italian name. He speaks Italian, all that. which
because
I thought was really cool. Because like I don't know, there's a lot of discourse on the internet trying to like make Indians seem not cool and stuff like that. So I think
yeah.
he's kind of like representing them very well.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting as someone who studied a fair amount of international hip hop, especially as it represents the reality of immigration and Europe, you know. And so like Indian rappers in England is a fascinating idea with their history of colonization. But then the
Hmm.
Algerian thing is just because I study French rap. And so there's a
Yeah.
lot of great French rappers of Algerian descent. I mean, Freeman is one of my favorite rappers of all time. Sat, another guy, like we're talking 30 years ago, but still really great rapper. So it's wild to have an English rapper who is in some ways representing Algeria. That's just, to me, that's like very engaging. And I could imagine that being very fruitful. And what's interesting is that, like, because so much of what I see when I look at this Interground stuff, stop trying to make fetch happen, Skye. Um, like I described it in the introduction, sort of facetiously saying, people with bad haircuts and bad clothes having aura, right? That's how old
Yeah.
people feel like all this music is. But like it seems like he has a lot of space for growth. And when I was reading about comments, and I even posted something to Instagram, of me listening to Fake Mink, a lot of people are just saying like the growth. So like what
Yeah.
is the growth? I mean, he's a 20-year-old kid. Am I right? I mean, that's a
Yeah.
kid. What is the growth that they're seeing?
Honestly, I don't think his music has even gone through that much of a growth. If anything, I think his older stuff has a little more depth and
Hmm.
like lyrical power to it. Like if you listen to the London Savior album, it was like a 2023 project. And I mean, that's what really made me fall in love with Fake Mink. Like I was put onto him in like August, but until I listened to that album all the way through, it was like October by that point, and it was fall outside. I would be out late, like riding my bike or something. I would just listen all the way through, and like there's real bars and lyricism and like writing, production. It's all self-produced. There's even like interlude cuts on that album that are just beats he made, like with no vocals on them, which I thought was really cool as well.
Yeah,
But
because I listened to that album as well, and I had that same kind of feeling, like, damn it, this is really even as
yeah,
someone who isn't particularly well trained, I couldn't tell the difference between Xavier So Based and Netspend, right? If you put the two songs next to me, I'd be like,
yeah,
I don't know, one of them's one of them, right? But like, there's something about that. So he does produce his own stuff, or he produces some of his own
yeah.
stuff, or
Yeah,
like,
not all of it, not all his music, but that album was self-produced. He has a lot of self-produced stuff. I think that like I mean Lucky has talked about this before, another rapper, but he said that like to blow up he had to kind of dumb his music down,
I
which I
see.
think does make sense because like to appeal to a wider, more mainstream audience, it's like you got to make stuff that people want to like get hyped to or like it's just a vibe.
So
So
you
he was
so you're
dropping.
seeing like reverse growth. You're seeing
Well,
like,
he's clearly still very talented, and
yeah,
like making a hit song is probably just as hard as making a deep song or like
yeah,
a song that people connect to. But I don't think his music has seen the growth that we're gonna like. He still has a long way to go. He's still
yeah,
kind of DIY sounding, in my opinion.
yeah.
So once he gets in like there's a lot of crazy collaborators behind the scenes and stuff. Like I think he still has a huge growth to go. I don't think he's really even expressed the growth he's been through, you know? Like those songs are still all in the vault yet.
Yeah, so I'm going to like try to so I can't play any music on my channel because I never know what the copyright goblins are going to do. But
Yeah.
I had you send me 4 songs and I listened to the 4 of them and I'm going to just pick one of them for us to start on. It's going to be from that album, London Savior, and it's called Just Kitten.
Hmm.
So if you are watching this video, just click on there to hear the song or hear, I always forget which side it's on. Just seriously have a listen to this song because to me, like I fell in love with this song and I don't know if is he producing this himself? Is he just Tina or Tina Taki Tina? There's like some weird like other name that's on the credits, but I can't figure it out.
No, that's a creative director. So
Okay.
that they don't have anything to do with the music. It's more so someone who gives him creative direction and stuff.
Okay, yeah, just all this stuff as an old head is like, what?
Yeah.
You're 18 years old and you have a creative director who's getting songwriting credits? Anyways, but just like these really cool, weird, backwards sounds, like so much atmosphere. And the thing that I really enjoyed you saying in one of your, I think it was one of your small documentaries about him, or Sad Parts, if it wasn't you as part of
Yeah.
Sad Parts doing it, that he actually writes his lyrics down.
Yeah.
And like, part of me wants to be an old head and just be like, oh, 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 wow. Wow. A kid who knows how to write down lyrics in an iPhone. What a genius. But like I want to go back on that and actually say like,
Yeah.
wow, like awesome. Because like punching in is the way that it's done now. It does
Hmm.
give a certain vibe. It does allow for certain freeness. It enforces a kind of superficiality. It's like all based on the Migos method. Like you can see exactly where it started happening and the way that it works. So like he really does actually rhyme. And if you write, I wrote down some of his lyrics. Point the biggest skeptic out and make him a believer because I'm sicker than a stomach ache, cold, and a fever.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest rapping in the world, but it's rapping, it's writing,
Yeah.
it's thinking, but it still has that young guy with a bad haircut and terrible clothes having aura. Like it manages to
Hmm.
do both those things at once. Is that why you sent me that song?
Yeah, that was just one of the first songs that made me kind of like gravitate to him and see like the depth and the potential. And so I wanted to share it with you because I was like, yeah, if he hears this, then he's gonna be curious and like want to digest more. Because that was my goal, obviously, to get you to really like get into it yourself. Because that's when you really discover music you love. Like
Yeah.
when once you go down the rabbit hole yourself without being like led down it, you know? And it's
Yeah.
interesting that you say the dichotomy as well as like trash hair with aura. It's like I think he's had a conversation about this before about how he wants people to describe his music, and he said it as like trash luxury.
Huh.
So he gave a scenario where it's like imagine you're at a fancy dinner
Hmm.
and you spill the meal on your t-shirt.
All
So
right.
it's like that t-shirt now has a $500 meal on it,
All
but
right.
it looks like a stain. So it's
Okay.
like that's kind of like how he wanted people to see him and his sound.
And that's like that's that's vision, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
really is vision. That really is a way of thinking about it. That is creativity. That is trying to do a thing. It actually sort of reminds me, is super nerdy, but like when George Lucas created Star Wars, his idea, because before him, all science fiction was clean and neat and futuristic looking, and he was like, no, no, we got to have a used future. Everything's got to be busted and kind of messy. So that kind of like
Yeah.
paradox, I don't know, it makes me think of that. And I hear it, but there's just I don't know. There's something about the way that he raps that is not he's not trying too hard, but he's also not trying too hard to not try. I guess that's what I really like because sometimes when I
Hmm.
listen to a lot of the Interground stuff, it feels like I have to try so hard to not say anything,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem like he's doing that. So the first song you sent me, I guess, is a newer song called "Music and Me." Um,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, the young kids love this music. So I have my baby is turning 1 in
Yeah.
like 11 days, and this song came on and her arms immediately went up and she was just going
Yeah.
like this,
It's just the
like
beat.
just the beat was so quickly adopted and understood in a very funny way. So
Hmm.
anyways, the kids, the real kids really really
Yeah, the
like this
youth.
stuff. But yeah, I guess that's him trying to be a little, and I'll include links to all of these in the description because you really should, this is curated by SADPRT and by Professor Skye as a way to understand this rapper. So like this is just kind of just the nice and poppy area that he's going into.
Yeah, I think that this is kind of like the breakthrough. Like these are the tracks that are gonna show the mainstream that he's like here to stay. But I do hope that he brings back the older sound as well a little bit. He does though. He still drops singles like every week. Like he'll drop a song on a random Tuesday and just put it on his Instagram story. So it's not like he's abandoning
Okay, so
abandoning
let me
anything.
get into the head of somebody who really studies this stuff. So how would you describe the old style versus the new style?
The old style had a lot more like the vocals weren't as crisp. Like there was a little more
Okay.
distortion. There wasn't as many effects on the vocals at all. Like you
Okay.
could really like kind of hear his true voice a little bit more.
Hmm.
And then there's even points like this, like a lot older songs, he was like singing a lot too. And his singing voice is actually really good. Like there's this song Mirror Mirror that you guys should check out that has good singing on it. And then Oud for Greatness, which I think I sent you. He has singing on there as well. And like I don't know, it's kind of he kind of sounds a little American in his singing voice, but I think he should bring that back as well.
Okay. All right. Just that way, if there's like super fake mink fans in my comments, they can all agree with you or disagree with you and have a whole discussion
Yeah.
down there about what is the old stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I feel lucky because I understand Playboy Cardi that like I'm really saved from a lot of the old manness that could be happening in my head because like
Yeah.
he's sort of the Rosetta Stone of like if you can listen to a whole lot of Red and enjoy it, then like basically all this stuff is like variations of that same kind of challenge. Um, I don't know if Truffle was the one that made me sort of think of that. That's another song that you sent me that's kind
Yeah.
of, I guess it's, is it cloud? Do we still use the term sound
That
like cloudy SoundCloud rap
cloud,
as a
yeah,
term?
Fakemink is regarded as kind of like the return or like the return of cloud rap, I guess. Truffle is more of like a jerk song, I think, just because it has those like that like high energy stuff. Also, I just wanted to say, your video of you recapping the Playboy Cardi show you went to with your son.
Yes.
I remember watching that like years ago. Like that was one of my favorite videos.
Oh,
That was really
awesome.
cool.
Well,
So
thank
it's
you.
cool to connect now.
Yeah, that was like that was the my first that's the closest video I had to 100,000 before the beef. It's still at like 98,000. So if all the sad part people can go watch that, I would love
Yeah.
to have a non-Kendrick, non-Drake video go over 100,000 views. But yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to become so big, but like and I think it was that same kind of idea, kind of like tapping in to just like
Hmm.
it, and that's the thing. Like sometimes people will say, like, "Oh, Skye, you're tapped in." And we all have the same internet, as Curtis King says. It's not
Yeah.
hard. If you're
Yeah.
80 years old, you can be tapped in to what the young kids are listening to on SoundCloud. Like you just
Hmm.
have to click. It's actually that's why it's not actual underground. Because
Yeah.
in the 90s, if you wanted to be into the underground scene and you were 47 years old, good luck, man. Like you're gonna be that weird guy. You're gonna
Yeah.
show up.
At the
Hello,
shows.
fellow kids. I saw the Sex Pistols in concert. Get kick
Yeah.
rocks.
Yeah, people have been that conversation's been happening too as well recently. It's like, to be tapped in, like the underground isn't a cool thing that you have to access anymore. It's just available to everybody.
Yeah,
So I mean, the debate is still there as to whether that's a good thing or not, or whether there should be some type of gatekeeping or anything, but the underground is accessible to everyone and it's bigger than ever because, TikTok,
yeah.
Instagram, whatever.
I mean,
But I don't know.
I would say that it has to be a good thing just because if there's any way that artists can make a living off of their work, we need to encourage that. And
Yeah.
the problem is like even if you're a mainstream artist, you can barely make a living off of your work. So like
Hmm.
but I don't, if that's not for me to say. And then the last one you sent me was Pillow Fight, which that one sort of felt like maybe is that like his most kind of mainstream instinct? It's kind of like a love song kind of thing. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty big song, yeah. I enjoy the video. I thought that like seeing the videos would give another additional description of his aesthetic because like there's so much to his art that like to really understand it and understand who he is, I think it's best to like look through his Instagram, look through his music videos, his lyrics, everything. But yeah, that song is definitely one of his bigger ones. So I'm glad you were listening to. Did you enjoy that one?
I did. I think I enjoyed it the least of the four. I mean, what I
Yeah.
ended up doing was I listened to the four songs you sent me, and then I just listened to London Savior, and I was
Hmm.
like, damn, I wish I reviewed that album when it came out because
Yeah.
because it I enjoyed it in a very kind of like immediate way that also helped me to feel like I don't know because I mean London, British rap has its own sort of style and like this doesn't really feel like British rap and like the sort of
Hmm.
cloud rap has its own style doesn't quite feel like that. There's like a vibrancy to that. That's why I really wanted to get this video out of the way so that when he releases like a proper album
Yeah.
eventually, that like I'll kind of have it ready
Nah,
and
don't feel no one was listening to that album when it dropped. Like I didn't
yeah.
even that was he was an afterthought. Like no one even knew who he was. I mean, at that point, one of my friends who's been listening to him for a while, he said that like when he was listening to Fake Make back in 2023, he put a like on his SoundCloud and
Uh-huh.
Fake Make like reached out to him in DMs. It was like, thank you for the like, thank you for the
What?
support, and was like having conversations with everybody who was liking his music.
I mean, that's what it is to be an artist. You
Yeah.
Like it's
Uh-huh.
you'd be surprised sometime, I mean, like I've mentioned it before, but like Lil Yachty sent me a DM because I liked his project with James Blake, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, like you're a little yachty, man, but like no
Hmm.
one was listening to the album. No one, everyone kind of like said he sucks now, and I'm like, he doesn't suck. We need to. He's great. Like we need to understand.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a very weird thing how much artists want to be taken seriously.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the sort of like hop on before it's too late. I've seen that a lot of that with this kind of interground underground stuff. So like when when is it too late? Is it too late? Did Drake make it too late?
No, I still don't think it's too late. And I don't think the too late thing is even a conversation. There is a lot of people like there's a big trope in Fake Minks fan base in particular. Like there's like some lore of this one guy named Margella Mango. He's like
Okay.
a an Instagram. He doesn't post or anything. All he's known for is every single fake mink post on the internet. If you go in the comment section, he'll say new gens, which is like him making fun of everyone for being so late. Because that guy used to DM me like back in like last summer. It'd be like, yo, listen to fake mink. Like this guy's crazy. I wouldn't like I never checked him out, but now he's like exacting his wrath on everyone who didn't give him a chance before. So like
That
they're gonna
yeah.
call you they might call you the old gen.
Oh yeah, call me old Jen. I want. Well, I mean that's the thing because the I also released a video this morning on Raekwon the Chef from Wu-Tang Clan, and like I'm going to release them at basically the same time to basically
Hmm.
just challenge everybody. Like
Yeah.
if you only listen to new rap music, go listen to Cuban Links. Listen to even the new Raekwon album. It's great. If you only listen to Raekwon the Chef and old Wu-Tang Clan, listen to Fake Mink. Like it's great.
Yeah.
It's there's yeah. I'll be a old Jen. That's good. I'll be old Jen of the Interground. That's
Yeah.
But what's
It's
funny
it
is like the energy that when you commented that I should listen to that friend and to my son's friend, and then
mhm.
other people said that too, like they had the exact same energy as my son's friend to the point where I thought, is this just him? Like, is he like trying to like game the algorithm or something? But like
Yeah.
Fake Mink seems to really engender that kind of passion in a way that's actually not too obnoxious. So that's nice.
Yeah, I think it's special to like discover people by word of mouth and have them be passionate about your music. It shows that it's like you're doing something that's like really connecting. Because obviously we hear so much music, we have access to so much internet content that it's like to actually take the time to like care about someone or be passionate about someone, they're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to hop on. What's it? Mango Margella, what's his name?
Margella Mango.
Okay, we gotta piss off Margella Mango. Like I want him in the comments of this video. I want because I think the world would be better if Fake Mink
I
were.
did have a quick question though, because I
Yeah.
do know that you had a lot of criticism for Netspan and his like substance abuse. So I
Yes.
was wondering if you had any thoughts about Fake Minks, discussion of that, because obviously he has a more of a he does talk about substances a lot, but I think he has a different approach to it or description of it. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, it seems less celebratory. I mean, he seems to be really into cigarettes, which is like, I smoked in my 20s, so like
Yeah,
I kind of relate to that a little bit, and I guess part of me feels like at least it's not vaping. I know it's just as bad, but I'm an old fool from the old school.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so like at least when I was listening, it sounded like like a sort of a description of his lifestyle, but not a huge part of what he's trying to make his lyrics about.
yeah,
And at least with Netspend, what I feel like, and I felt this way with a lot of rappers who talk a lot about it, is I feel like when you're not when you don't have a specific kind of oppression, or when you don't have a specific upbringing, or like you don't have like anything to rap about, then you have to make yourself interesting. And so I sometimes think rappers are like, well, I could do a lot of like opiates. That's interesting, right? Addiction's interesting. And then I feel like they get themselves in trouble, or they're just like, I'm really into sex and they rap about that. So
yeah.
I didn't get that feeling. But what's your take on that with Fake
Um,
Mink?
Yeah, I just think that Fake Pink's a lot more descriptive with his, breakdown of doing said substances. So it's like again, it's not glorifying it. It's not really like painting it in some positive light either, in my opinion. Although obviously a young kid doing those things or hearing those things isn't a net positive.
Yeah.
But I think that his music takes a little more of a responsible approach to it, at least.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, the thing I was trying to get through in my Netspend video is just like I just felt like really sad. Like he just makes me really sad
Yeah,
because he reminds me of my son's friends, not that one, but other ones. Like it's,
yeah,
I raised kids in the suburbs in the 2010s and 2020s. Like I've seen net spend everywhere. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like one of my son's friends actually moved down to Florida and was like a DJ rapper guy. And part of me wonders like one day is like that kid going to show up on the thing and be like, oh my god, he was at my house, he like broke a glass. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
but it
hope he's all
seems
good.
it seems more I don't know, it seems more imbalance, and that's why perhaps being a London rapper and not being and being a having the history of immigration and multicultures like that itself, like you have less to sort of prove that you have something to say because
Hmm.
like if you are if you are Indian or Arab in Europe, like that, you definitely have a life experience that is different than what most people have lived, and you definitely have a lot to say, and you've definitely had to put up with a lot of really horrible systemic racism, like just
Yeah.
off the bat, like just walking down the street,
Hmm.
which it's not a prerequisite because like Young Lean's a great rapper, right? And he doesn't have that same set of challenges, but yeah,
Yeah, they are close. They have music together.
yeah.
Nespin and Fakemink, they are pretty close, like in terms of friendship or whatever. So I'm hoping to hear that song. And yeah, I mean, I don't. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. But this conversation was great.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Drop a like. We'll do another.
I mean, my main question is, did you know you were going to be in Pitchfork? Because they dropped me in
Oh
Pitchfork and
yeah,
never even
yeah.
told me. And then I'm
Nah,
reading through and I see you're on there. I'm like, sweet. That,
yeah,
that,
yeah. That was you were level two. You
yeah.
were in you were near the top.
Yeah,
You
but
were
they kind of did. They're like, if
certified.
you like long, boring shit, why don't you watch this asshole? That was basically their
No,
review
that
of
was
me.
cool. It's cool to see like someone giving you a stamp of approval, you know? Like
Yeah.
a cool source like Pitchfork. I love them.
Yeah. That was just
Thank you, Pitchfork.
yeah. I mean, I appreciate it too. It's just a very sort of funny thing to be like, all right, two Pitchfork approved music critics are going to get on and talk about
Yeah.
Fake Mink. Also, no, well, thank you. Yes, if you're watching this and you think this is great, let me know in the comments if we should do more of this. And who do you think I've missed the most besides Fake Mink?
There's another British guy, Fang.
Fang.
I think that
Okay.
would be a really because his lyric like he's such a anomaly like what he talks about like how his music sounds. I think it would be really interesting for you to do
All
a
right.
dive into him.
All right. Cool. We'll do a Fang. Sounds good.
Sounds good,
All right.
man.
Well, thank you, Sad Part. I'm going to hit stop on the recording. See the cameras up there. Hopefully, this